Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another YouTube video. I appreciate you for clicking on this video in advance. And today we have the devs talking about what they're changing in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 that's coming out in November, early November or mid-November, November 14th. That's the date. So this video is basically talking about what they're changing for when Black Ops 7 drops, and is it going to be better for the game? Is it going to be better for us? So I'm excited to watch this with you guys. If you have not liked this video or subscribed, now is the time to do so. And it shows like 86% of you guys watching the video and not subscribing. What are you doing? I would appreciate it if you did. All right, now let's get right into it. Okay, so today we have a video uploaded on YouTube by Treyarch, Dev Talk Multiplayer Updates. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Hey everyone, Matt Schrontz, design director at
Hello,
Treyarch,
Matt.
back again to talk about some updates for multiplayer in Black Ops 7. Okay, so the first topic I want to touch on is the whole aim down sights, ADS, while sliding, diving, wall jumping topic. So in the beta, that did require you to take the dexterity perk. The team looked at all of our options and ultimately landed on providing the most fluid experience by default, which does mean we've reintroduced the ability to aim down sights while sliding, diving, and wall jumping by default.
Oh my God. Thank the Lord. Okay, because that shit was annoying. It was like a crutch. Basically the dexterity perk was basically like that's all you had to use, right? It was nothing else. That's all you had to use in that slot if you wanted to, sweat and jump on walls and slide and aim down sight and stuff like that. I mean, who did that in the first place? Just leave the ADS the way it is. And that is perfect. I'm glad they went back to like the regular way of doing things.
Need to take the dexterity perk. Dexterity will still speed up those interactions, sprint to fire, slide to fire, but you will not need dexterity perk to ADS while doing those actions.
That is perfect. So what they making the dexterity, the perk, is basically making those movements faster for you, which is great, right? If you want to sweat way more and you want it to be way faster, you could use the perk. But if not, it's fine. You could use something else in that slot. That makes way more sense to me.
Okay, next one I want to touch on is just to reconfirm a topic I touched on in our last dev update about footstep volume. We have slightly increased the volume of our footsteps in multiplayer. We're very happy with where they're at, where it's going to incentivize more stealth play styles without over-indexing on the need for the ninja perk.
That is smart. That is good. So footsteps in multiplayer are going to be louder. Now, does that mean that's going to transfer into Warzone? That's the question people are asking, right? Because I mean, a lot of us play multiplayer to level things up and like level guns up so you could use it in Warzone. Now, is Warzone footsteps going to be louder also? Right? It's great that you're doing that for multiplayer, but is that going to transfer into Warzone? That's the question that we need to know.
Okay, next I want to touch on where we've landed with our slide tuning coming out of the beta for launch. Alongside that dexterity change and the ADS change, we have slowed down the slide speed a bit and we reduced the distance a bit, but I promise you it still feels great, it still feels fluid, but we want to make sure that
Wow, it seems like they just nerf sliding. It seems like they just nerfed it. Maybe it feels good. I don't know. Maybe Matt is telling the truth. Maybe it's just like you can't even notice it. Maybe
that's not the only way you can enter in an engagement. Okay, another movement topic I want to touch on are our mantles. So we saw the feedback. We agree. Some of the mantles felt a little slow.
Oh, yeah.
So the team is going through every single mantle in the game to make sure that we have a consistent speed and fill and everything feels fast and fluid.
Mantling is an issue. I mean, it takes forever. I mean, like even in the beta, it takes forever to grab on something and then climb up. By the time you do that, you're shot. You're done. You're done. So you're done. Somebody's there, you're done. So that's pretty dope. And the fact that they have somebody going through the whole game and fixing the mantle speeds of the whole game is that's gonna be time consuming. Maybe. I don't know. Everything's AI nowadays, so they might just press a button and then make the speed faster. So we'll see. I'm just happy that they're going through stuff and they're listening to us. This is what we needed.
Next one is a meaty topic, and it's about our perks and our perk distribution. Got a lot of feedback. We made some changes ahead of beta coming out of our blog. A lot of you had a lot of feedback on that, which we appreciate. But the big changes that we're going to focus on here for launch are: one, we want to make sure that we are incentivizing and allowing for varied play styles.
Okay.
Two, we saw a lot of feedback on how stacked slot 1 was. So we've made some
true.
adjustments there that I think you're going to be happy with. And then 3,
that is true. The perks, it looked like you needed to use one set of perks only, and that was it. That was the meta of perks. That was the one that everyone was using, and that was it. Everything else was going to be put on the shelf, and we weren't going to be using it. So I'm glad they're looking at the perks and changing their positions, so that way we can have various play styles. We can have the perks be useful, like not just 3 perks and everybody's using the same perks.
There were some kind of niche underutilized perks, so we've actually made some combinations of perks to make those chunky decisions and choices.
Very smart.
Okay, let's get into the details. First change, we've actually moved Tech Mask to slot 2 from slot 1.
Okay.
That's going to allow for classes like Flak Jacket, Tech Mask, and Guardian for a very strong support tanky class. We've moved Tac Sprinter to slot 1 from slot 3,
okay.
Looper to slot 3 from slot 2, and that's going to let you loop your score streaks. Cold-Blooded is going to slot 3 from slot 1,
okay.
and that's going to allow for full stealth classes like Ghost, Ninja, and Cold-Blooded,
okay.
with a wild card, of course. Scavenger is going back to slot 2 from slot 1. And then we'll start getting into the combinations of those underutilized perks that I touched on. So first up, Shadow, which allows you to move by traps without setting them off, has been added to Engineer. So that's going to be a fun perk where...
That is amazing. So they removed perks that wasn't going to be used as much. They added them to perks to make them better, so that they, like engineering. Not a lot of people was using that before, right? Because you would much rather use Assassin, right, instead of Engineer. Now they're adding things into the perk to make them stronger, so that way you can be able to use other perks and you can still be, you know, in the game and still killing shit.
You can actually see enemy equipment through the world and then also approach it and not set those traps off. Vendetta, which allows you to see the location of your previous killer, has been added to Assassin. So if you really want to target a single player on the enemy team, this is going to be your perk. So one for our melee players, we've actually added Bruiser, which gives you increased health regen and score for melee kills to close shave. So if you want to go all in on that melee playstyle, this is going to be the perk for you. Hunter's Instinct, which gives you intel on a nearby enemy after a kill, has been added to Tracker.
Oh
so
my
that's
God.
all about tracking your...
First of all, Tracker in perk 3 slot is now probably what you would want to use. And in my opinion, Tracker is probably the best perk in perk 3 because they added that to it. Tracker is going to be OP.
Enemy locations. And then one that I'm super excited about, we've actually added Quartermaster, which recharges your equipment to Gearhead, and that has moved to slot 1. And if you're all about the gadgets, or if you're all about the field upgrades and the equipment, this is going to be the perk for you. So with all of these...
So I definitely appreciate that. The fact that they're making the perks stronger, right? More variety, so that way you guys could have a different play style. If you want to run around and just like shank people, you got the close shave. And that app is useful now, right? People that like to, you know, knife people and stuff like that, walking around, there you go. That's for you, and you could use that, right? It's just making the game feel like you could have your own character.
These changes to our perks, the team is very excited. We think you'll be very excited, and of course, we're very much looking forward to your feedback. Okay, next up, I want to touch on what we're doing with Aim Assist in Black Ops 7. So first off, we're looking very closely at the data, and the data says that controller players are winning slightly more in close range engagements, and then keyboard mouse players are winning slightly more in those long range engagements.
Slightly more is not correct. He's trying to be nice. Controller players are winning. If you are a decent controller player and you are a decent mouse and key player, the decent controller player is gonna win that gunfight probably 80% of the time. They're probably gonna win that game, that gunfight 80% of the time if you're a decent controller player. Like, Aim assist up close is OP for sure, right? Mouse and key has no chance up close. I don't care how good of a mouse and key player you are. If you're the best mouse and key in a game and the best controller player in the game, that controller player is winning probably 85% of the time up close. Now the distance, mouse and key is beaming you. Absolutely. I agree with that. I would almost leave mouse and key like the way it is. Obviously, they can't really do anything about it. And then like leave the controller players as far as the distance go the same way it is and buff mouse and key close range. Or, you know, nerf controller close range. That's what I would almost do. Nerf the aim assist close range and rotational aim assist, because we be freaking that. You know what I'm saying?
So what we're going to do here is to try to close that gap, take a very close look at the strength of aim assist across all of those ranges. And then additionally, we are looking at rotational aim assist and the requirement for your right aim stick to be moving in the direction of your target.
Of the player.
We'll have more concrete details to share soon. That's my time for today. Of course, we have more details coming on maps, modes, weapons, and progression as we head into launch.
That makes a lot of sense to me. As far as rotational aim assist, so we abuse that, right? For the people that know how to use it, we do abuse that. And I think aim assist is overpowered, right? It is overpowered. That's my opinion. But mouse and key also, it has its advantages, but I'm glad they were taking a look at everything overall as far as the maps, aim assist, the things that are important, the things that's going to bring us back to play this game, right? So let me know in the comments if you guys agree with this or not. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. We'll be back with another video as far as what's going on in the world of Call of Duty and Black Ops 7. And of course, everything else for Battlefield 6, right? We'll keep you guys updated and we'll go from there. Have a good day.